Hello. I want to continue the trend of this channel and just continue to document and upload kind of obscure niche aspects of the game. And for today, I've decided to quickly talk about the Duke. The structure of this video will be I will first outline the potential problems that you might encounter if you try and do this boss on leagues, for example. And then I will quickly talk about the method to overcome the issues, and then I'll finish the video with some example kills with various different weapons. The weapons that I want to showcase are going to be the Temeccan Shadow, the Trident of the Seas, and the Warped Sceptre. And this could also be applied to various ranged weapons, but I don't have an account which can showcase those, unfortunately. The animation delay with all of these three different weapons, as far as leagues is concerned at least, the animation's a little bit different, and so it'll be good just to have just a complete example as a reference for anyone who's trying to do this method on their own. Throughout this video, I will be referring to leagues, because that's where this problem most commonly arises, and that's where you're most likely to be doing this boss kind of on an off style, not using melee. It could potentially be useful in future leagues as well, so it might be useful in that regard, but it could also be useful for very particular niche restricted accounts that can't use the meta melee weapons such as a fang or a scythe. So I'll get started with a kill here, and the prep phase isn't anything different to a normal Duke kill, so this part here isn't important. The tiles that I have marked also aren't particularly relevant. These are just a mix of my own personal tiles and also the Awakened tiles, so none of that is going to be relevant or in the description or anything like that. The main issue with Duke is that when he is not in his enraged phase, he will attack at a 5-tick cycle, and when he's attacking at a 5-tick cycle, if you're using, for example, a 2-tick shadow, then obviously every now and then your attacks are going to line up with his attacks, and that's a bit of an issue. So to kind of get around this, you can't, well, so normally with melee you would step behind the pillars, and being behind the pillars means that you are out of his attack range for a tick, and then you can just path back and attack him from path around the pillars. With Mage and range, these can't attack from behind the pillar, so instead you want to make use of this back row instead here. You will still use the pillars optionally if you prefer, but you will need to make use of these back tiles in order to not lose ticks. The big mechanic which enables this to work is Duke. His check for whether to do a slam attack or a mage attack actually has a 2-tick window and not a 1-tick window, and so you can do the normal step back for one hit in the cycle, and then you do a kind of early step back for the second hit. If that all doesn't really make too much sense as to abstract, then I'll go through an explicit method and show exactly the ticks, exactly which attacks you should be using and which step backs you should be using. It boils down ultimately to just a pattern of attacking and stepping behind the pillar, and then stepping back a tile, and then stepping back in manually. A big issue, well, maybe not issue, but a big difference between leagues, Duke, and main game is you have to manually path a lot because your weapons don't drag you. So getting started with the kill here, the first attack from Duke is actually a 6-tick attack. I imagine they did that to kind of perfectly line up with BGS or something. That'd be my guess. But the first attack is 6 ticks, and so the first attack you will hide behind the pillar, and then from there it'll be pillar and then step back, and then pillar and then step back, and then pillar and then step back, and then in that kind of cycle. And then there's a few considerations for his special attacks, like the eye attack and whatnot. but I'll just demonstrate that in the kill. So attack, attack. So this is the even hit. And I do an early step back in, do 2 attacks, and I'm behind the pillar. Early step back. And then this is going to be behind the pillar, and this is going to be the eye attack now, and Shadow is a little bit busted, so he is already dead. But probably showcase it better with the other weapons, but for that particular attack, I'm fairly sure that you have to lose a tick. I've died many times trying to greet an extra hit, and I don't think the ticks line up. I'll quickly just showcase just another Shadow kill, because that one was a bit exceptionally fast, and not normally that fast. Normally take a little bit longer. And I just also want to mention a really useful tip is actually just to, when you're doing the step back in, it's good to shift click. This stubby little arms kind of flailing around during the fight a little bit. You can accidentally click on him while trying to step back in, and then they'll keep you out of his range, and then there's a chance for him to use his mage attack, and that can hurt. So it's good to just get the habit of shift clicking to walk back in. So I'll demonstrate one more kill. And so I'll click. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. This is kind of the cycle. And this one here, off here, and then I have to wait a tick, and then I go back and cycle. And now he's dead. That's a bit more of a full example. With Shadow, he doesn't really last much longer than that in kind of all the kills that I've done. So I'll go on and show the other 2 weapons, probably with no commentary for these ones, because there's not really much else. It's just the same thing, but longer. Complete footage without making any mistakes for Warp Scepter. Done with this place now. Great. Leviathan time. Finally. Cool. This is working out well.